And a huge Upland update. Upland update? Upland update's an old video series that we used to do. It's just a developer update. Upland just dropped one of the first real building blocks for trade routes. We now have trailers, we have logistics centers, and we have details on both of those. So if you're a truck owner, you're a semi-truck owner, your time is now. Now, this is not the full trade routes launch yet, and there's still some big details coming. Trade routes are still in active development, but today's announcement tells us what players can start preparing for right now, what you do not need to rush into necessarily, and why this matters for the future of Upland's map. Let's break it down. As always, this is just a 10,000-foot view of the announcement. Make sure you go read the full thing in detail. We're just going to cover the main points here. So if you want to be as informed as possible, please go read the full announcement here. So before we get into this, we're actually going to go down to logistics centers. Here are logistics centers. This is where players will be able to park their trailers and begin trade routes. But before we get into the details on this, I want to answer two questions that have come up multiple times across socials. First, do you need to build a logistics center in your home node or one for every route that you want to create? The way you want to think about logistics centers and trade routes is they're neighborhood specific, and a trade route requires both a home node and a destination. So a logistics center needs to be at a home node and a destination. It doesn't need to be your logistics center. You don't need to own a logistics center yourself to participate, but there are benefits to ownership that you just don't get when it comes to Troves, if you're using someone else's. That's the same for everything. If I'm petting someone else's plants, I don't get the full benefits and the full chances of Troves petting someone else's plants as I do petting my own. So there's a benefit to being the owner of these things. Second question that we got, can other players use a logistics center? Like I just said, yes, other players can use established logistics centers, but again, ownership has distinct benefits. So there's a benefit to owning, but you don't need to own in order to participate. So this is not just about buying buildings here. It's about deciding how much control and upside you want in the future trade route system as we go forward. So this is logistics centers. Logistics centers, this is the big boy one. Super cool. By the way, look at all the trailers there. Ooh, oh, and semi-trucks they're just cool vehicles. Fun fact, I watch a YouTube channel where a dude just documents his travels on the road in a semi-truck in the US, and it's cool. It kind of makes me want to be a truck driver. Not gonna lie, it's fascinating. Anyways, logistics centers are structures that players will use to create trade routes in the future. Players will place trailers at logistics centers and then send semi-trucks to those centers as part of a future trade route activity. Trade routes are neighborhood specific, underscoring that again, which means the location of your logistics centers is going to matter, or the logistics centers that you are utilizing. Remember, you don't have to necessarily own them. A trade route does need a home node as a destination as well. Again, you don't need to own every logistics center involved in every route, but owning one can give you benefits that non-owners will just not get. Other players can utilize your logistics center, so this has the potential to become a shared infrastructure for sure, not just a private building sitting on your property. Structure size does matter. Larger logistics centers are expected to handle more trade activity, while smaller ones, it's the exact opposite. They're going to handle less activities. Final capacity details on logistics centers are not yet here. Again, this is still in active development. We're just preparing for the future here. Right now, there are two logistics centers. So the one you're looking at here, this is the big one. Let's go down to two of them, though. So the first one is the Nexus Point Logistics Center. You could see this is going to be available for Ubix in the app. You can see there's 3 bays there. Again, you're going to be able to park trailers there. We're going to get into trailers in a moment. And then we've got the bigger one, the largest one, the Zenith Terminal Logistics structure, and this is for $15 USD. And you can see, obviously, there's just a lot more. It's larger, and so there's going to be a lot more trade that's going to be able to happen at this one. Now, these will go on sale starting Friday, May 8th. No registration is required. Why is that? Why is there no registration required? These are going to be permanently inside of the store. The direction we're going as we prepare for the new store overhaul is adding more and more items that never leave the store. So you're always going to have options there going forward. This is going to be one of those options, logistic centers, both for Upix and for USD, the blueprints anyways. Now, once you get a blueprint you no longer see that in the store. So if you're looking like, hey, there's nothing in the store right now, well, you've probably purchased everything that there is available in the store as those go away. Again, no registration required. These will become available, and they are intended to be permanent store items. So this is not a one day or a limited time sale on these. There will be more terminals added over time, more options added over time as we go forward. Which brings us to semi-truck trailers. Very, very exciting. Also, permanent items in the store, semi-permanent items here in the store with semi-truck trailers. Now, trailers are a new type of map asset in Upland. This is important. They are standalone map assets that you'll be able to place at your logistics center. In fact, let's go back up to the logistics centers here. You can see there are trailers placed here at these logistics centers, and that's how trade work is going to be determined. There are different types of trailers that we're going to get into here in a second. They do not physically attach to semi-trucks like a normal vehicle attachment. You can place them on the map and you can simulate that if you would like, but they are standalone map assets. So if you, for instance, want a trailer in a race, you're not going to be able to do that. These are map assets. They're not actually attached to the vehicle. That's just how this works. Remember, we're simulating trade here. That's the trade routes is a simulation of trade going forward. And honestly, it's pretty exciting. Now, every player who owns a semi-truck will receive a standard freight. Let me get you down to where are we at here? The different trailer types. So the first trailer type is the standard freight trailer. Everybody who owns currently a semi truck is going to get the standard freight trailer. When you buy a semi truck in the future, you will get dropped along with it a standard freight trailer. These come standard. Now, we are going to take a snapshot in order to do this first drop on Monday, May 11th at 9 a.m. PT. Anyone who owns a semi-truck trailer at that time will be dropped a one standard freight trailer. So that gives current semi-truck owners a starting point for trade routes without needing to buy additional trailer bundles immediately. And when you get a semi-truck trailer, you obviously will get one. Now, for the first sale, because we do have a semi-truck sale over the weekend here, again, we're waiting till the snapshot. So you're going to get your semi truck. And then after the snapshot on Monday, May 11th at 9 a.m. PT, we will drop you as well a standard freight trailer. So that's how it works. The standard freight trailers are the most common trailer type and come with semi truck ownership typically. I want to go over this. There are 4 different trailer types. Counting the standard, there are 4 different trailer types here. Not all trailers are built the same. Each trailer brings its own mix of rarity, visual identity, and future trade route potential. This is an important note here. While final trade route details are still in development, trailer rarity will be one of the factors that will influence Trove outcomes in the future of the trade route system. So stay tuned for more details on this. So first one, standard freight. It's going to be the most common type of trailer out there. The next one is branded freight trailers. These are honestly some of my favorites, and I'm very excited to see what other brands come. These are more uncommon than the standard freight trailers, and they offer visual variety. Here's the first 4. So by the way, check out these brands. Walmart is here. Very cool. Parcel Haul, Up Express, get it? And then Llama Cola are the first branded trailers. More branded trailers will be added over time. Again, these are more uncommon than the standard freight trailer. Even more uncommon, even more rare is going to be the container trailers. These are rarer. Their rarity is going to play a role in future trade route outcomes. Again, you've seen these. I pictured these on ships, like you have the big freight ships and they unload and offload these. That's exactly how I picture these. Super cool. And then last but not least, the oil tank trailer, which I think is the coolest one. Clearly, if you don't think it's the coolest one, you're wrong. But oil tank trailer is super cool. Again, the rarity will play a factor here. These are the rarest ones. And more trailer styles like the oil tanker, like rare ones like this, will be added over time. So what does this mean for players? You can wait. You don't have to get them now. Again, these are semi-permanent in the store. In other words, they are map assets, so we have to manufacture them. I think we're starting with initial 1,000 bundles initially, but when they run out, we're going to replenish them. The intention here is for them to be available in the store for the most part. Now, We may retire some, for instance, of the branded ones. We may retire some specific styles, but we'll bring new branded ones in. If we discontinue any of those, there will always be an opportunity to get semi-truck trailers in Upland. That's the point. So you can prefer to wait if you want to find out more details on as we get closer to launch of trade and trade routes, or you can jump in and start preparing now. Both ways are valid. You play how you want to play. That's the beauty of how Upland is built. You're not forced into anything. You can play exactly how you want to play. You can do what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it. It's like a song. Is that a song? That's a song. Now it is one bundle. And it's a chance of what you get. An 80% chance gets you a branded freight trailer, 1 of 4, 15% chance on a container trailer, 5% chance for an ultra rare oil tank trailer. I hate the random chance bundles. I hate them. Why do you guys do them? We do them because there's an open market in Upland. We do them because if you're someone that gets lucky and gets an ultra rare oil tanker, you can now take that if you so choose to and sell it in Upland, and we're not determining the price of that. You determine, the open market determines the value. Same with the branded freight trailer, same with the container trailer. That's why we do these in bundles, because we have an open market. If we didn't have an open market, we were a closed market, we didn't allow you to sell or trade your stuff. Number one, we wouldn't be Upland, but number two, we could change the way that we sell stuff. But that's why we sell these bundles like that as we do, because we have an open market, and players should have that ability and be able to determine those prices for themselves. So that is that. Again, super cool. Look how cool the Llama Cola one is, though. It is cool. The branded ones are cool, but the oil tanker's the best one. It's because of the metal. It's because it's all metal. That's why. We do also have, as part of this, a semi-truck bundle coming. You got to register for that now. Nothing new on semi-truck bundles, except for that they do come with the standard freight trailer. Again, Monday is the Snapshot. Don't wait on that. And that does us for today's announcement. Again, we are just getting started here with trade routes. This is another step in that direction. You can play however you want. You can decide to jump in, prepare early. You can wait till there's more details out. You cannot be involved in trailers, in trade routes at all. If that's not what you're into, if that's not what you want to do, guess what? You don't have to. You can focus on whatever it is. You're into property decoration, you can focus on property decoration. You're into racing, you can focus on racing. You're into life, you can focus on life. If you're into fishing, the future of fishing, you can focus on that. If you're into troves, you can focus on that. And if you're into just holding a property and flipping it, that's a path for you as well. Upland and these systems are built so you can play how you want, when you want, where you want. The choice is yours, my friend. The choice is yours. That's going to do us for today's announcement. Again, hopefully this answered some questions for you. Share it with your friends. Make sure you're informed. Read the announcement in full, please. Make sure that you are making informed decisions. And I love hanging out with you guys. I feel like we connect through the camera here. And it's fun. It's fun to hang out with you guys. Have a great rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you in Upland. Bye-bye, bye-bye.